Are you someone who really want to master generative AI and you want to become job ready in generative AI? So that is why I'm starting a course on generative AI, especially for the working professional. And at the same time, I have a plan to create a long series of video which will help our viewers to understand generative AI, all the core concept of generative AI, and doing some project around that. Okay, so that's what my plan. So I'm going to create a long series of videos which will help you to become very proficient and elite in generative AI. Okay, so let's get started. So in this video, what I'm going to start with, it is more like an introduction video. So in this video, I will talk about what is the generative AI, right? What are the concepts and what are the kind of syllabus, right? I will talk about, give a very introduction introduction about generative AI and what are the things that you have to cover. And somebody, if you have no any idea about right now that what should I study, which topics should I study, and what should be my roadmap to become generative AI developer. So I will give a game plan. I will give a try to establish a roadmap kind of things in this video, so that it will create a context and we can just get started. Okay, so let's get started in this video. Let's understand the complete roadmap. And from the experience perspective, if you really want to crack interview, if you really want to get job in generative AI field, then what is the right roadmap? So let's get started in this video. Let's start with the roadmap. Okay, so in this video, I will talk about the roadmap to become a generative AI developer, or anyone who want to make a career into generative AI. Then exactly where, okay, where to start, okay, and how to start and what to study is everything I will talk about in this video, right? And I have seen why I'm creating this video, because I have seen there are a lot of people, okay, there are a lot of people I have seen in industry, they want to switch into generative AI domain, okay, because of it's a wave, because of a lot of reasons. It's a wave in generative AI. There are a lot of openings in generative AI. A lot of people want to make career in generative AI, but a lot of people are having no much clarity. And I have seen a lot of people, they have done the certification, but still they are not able to get the interview calls. They're not able to crack the interview. Okay, so how to get started? What is the roadmap to really want to make a career into generative AI? Let us talk about that first. Okay, so here, uh, okay, by the way, I have seen a lot of videos about roadmap on YouTube. A lot of people talk about a lot of things. So I'm going to take some different approach. Okay, whatever I'm going to talk about, it will be more like practical, because I have seen that, and I myself have done the transition from Java developer to generative AI, so I understand the context. Right now, let me start with this concepts in industry. Okay, let's suppose in industry today, what is the application or what is the usage, or I would say what kind of projects, okay, what kinds of projects you have to work with if you want to make a career into generative AI. By the way, I want to differentiate, okay, a traditional ML. Let's suppose you're working with the ML or deep learning kind of projects. So that's a very traditional, or I would say uh, this has been doing for long years. Okay, so I'm not talking about these traditional jobs which are in the ML and deep learning. I'm talking about in the generative AI, right? So in the generative AI today, okay, this is my whatever I have seen in the industry. There are basically I would say two types of projects or use case in industry. Okay, number one is, it is called fine tuning. Okay, fine tuning the model. This is one type of job profile or one type of project, you can say. And second projects can be building a RAG kind of application, or building a agentic type of application, or doing a prompting. Okay, suppose you have some data set, you have some use cases, you want to do prompting and you want to get result. So I can see right now in industry, whatever I have experienced, limited experience, whatever, I can see there are two types of work or two types of project. Either you can do fine tuning model, or I can build this kind of application. Okay, so let me give my roadmap. Okay, how I started. Okay, I will give a complete roadmap. I will give you two approach. If somebody want to become a generative AI developer or want to make a career into generative AI, there are two approach. There are two approach to make a career in this. Okay, so they are how I did started. Okay, in my case, uh, okay, first of all, let me talk about the approach. Okay, what are the two approach that you can take, or I can say there are two routes. Okay, there are two routes you can take to reach or to become into generative AI space. Okay, number one is space. Let me talk about the shortest route, and this is called the shortest route, and this is what I did. Okay, initially when I started. So what here in this roadmap, what you have to do, how to get started. Okay, so in the generative AI, if you really want to become good at generative AI, I would suggest in this way, you can start with a transformer. Okay, what is transformer? This I'm not going to talk about this. Maybe in the subsequent video I will talk about what is the transformer architecture. I will talk about in detail. So first of all, and before that, okay, before this everything to get started, there are some prerequisite. The prerequisite is that you should know Python pretty well. Okay, because it is more like a coding oriented kind of job. It is in a typical machine learning job, you don't have too much good at coding. There no much coding required. But in case of generative AI, you're building RAG application, you're building agentic application, you are uh, okay, this kind of application, then application is more required. Okay, so these are the prerequisite. So you should have a good hands-on Python programming. Okay, and also you should have a good understanding of software engineering. Now, you might be wondering why software engineering skill set is required in generative AI. Yeah, it has a very close connection. Okay, and at the same time, you should have some cloud knowledge. These are the prerequisite. Okay, if you have some cloud knowledge, like it can be anything like AWS or GCP or Azure, anything. Okay, so I would say these are the prerequisite. If you really want to become very good at generative AI, or you want to become a developer kind of role, then these three are very kind of prerequisite. Okay, and because I was a Java developer, so these things was I already have, so it is not a much problem in that. Okay, so let me talk about the shortest route. If somebody really want to become generative AI developer, maybe in 2 to 3 months down the line, it is quite possible. Okay, so I will suggest you. Let's assume that I'm assuming that you have already this kind of prerequisite skill set you already have. Okay, this is my assumption. Okay, now in this route, what you have to do, you start with a transformer. Try to understand the transformer architecture. Okay, how it works, what are the different components, because in interview I have seen generally people, interviewer ask question from transformer, what are the architecture. So first you start with the transformer, you try to understand the basic core concepts. Okay, and then here, after that, you have to understand LLM. What is the LLM, large language model, right? These concepts, there are multiple LLM, multiple provider. Like try to understand what is OpenAI, right? What is cloud, right? Like what is Google has Gemini, right? There are a lot of models. So try to understand these models and try to understand every model has given their APIs. OpenAI has its own API, Cloud has its own API. So try to understand their APIs. Okay, and this things is very easy to understand. If you already have this, you already have a software developer background, then it's very easy to understand, right? So after that, suppose you got the API, you understand what are the different API given by these providers, and then you have to build knowledge in what is called Hugging Face. Okay, try to understand what is Hugging Face API, what Hugging Face platform, what are the different model they are available, right? How to do fine tuning. Just take some model, do some fine tuning on these models, right? So these are the, I'm giving the path. Okay, this is the path I followed personally. I started with transformer, and one thing in this route, okay, I had no knowledge in ML, very transparent. Okay, I had no knowledge in ML, I had no knowledge in maths, I had no knowledge in very conceptual knowledge in deep learning. Okay, so this is the path I'm talking about, where you don't have to be very good at ML or maths or deep learning though. But if you have a good knowledge in this area, it's an advantage for you. I will talk about that. But when I started, okay, in my case, I'm talking about, in my case, I had zero knowledge. This everything, I had no very good concept or understanding in ML, this all thing. But even though you can start, that's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, even though you don't have very good math knowledge or good ML knowledge, okay, and you want to build something around LLM, then it is quite possible. This is how I started. So now you started with transformer, you know the LLM, you understand all the API, you understand Hugging Face, you do fine tuning, okay, and then try to understand the RAG architecture. Okay, build some RAG architecture. Again, this is more like a, according to me, if I ask you what is RAG, so according to me, RAG is more like a software development for me. Okay, so according to me, it is more like a software development. So try to understand RAG application, different components, how to build multiple, what are the different architecture, it's a whole concept. Okay, try to understand this whole thing. Okay, so here ultimately in this space, you have to do two types of job, as I discussed. Either you can do fine tuning. Okay, you already have a pre-trained model, you just take this model and based on your data set, you try to fine tune. What is fine tuning, I will talk about later. I'm just giving the kind of project that we build in generative AI space and the RAG. Okay, so if you have traveled this path from transformer, you understand LLM, the architecture, different APIs, you understand Hugging Face, understand fine tuning, you understand RAG. Okay, and you also understand like cloud, you have a cloud knowledge like AWS, you understand the deployment side, you know how to deploy this RAG application, you understand the deployment life cycle of any software or RAG application, right? This everything is required. And additionally, you also need to know LLM ops. Okay, how to do LLM ops, like in production, how to do monitoring, observe, how to observe the your RAG application. Okay, this everything is required pretty much in this space if you really want to learn or become generative developer. So this is the path I had taken. So what I'm trying to say here, when I started, I had no map, because a lot of people has this concepts or misconcept that if I'm not good at math, I don't have an ML background, then it's very tough for me to get started. It is not going to stop you, by the way. But if you have a very sound knowledge of ML deep learning, it's going to uh, it's added advantage. Okay, but it is not going to stop you. So this is one approach. Okay, so in this shortest route, this is the very shortest, I think this everything what I'm talking about, transformer, LLM, Hugging Face, RAG, agentic. Okay, you can also add agentic on top of that. Okay, if you have, you can add some agentic framework like LangGraph. You can learn LangGraph, or you can learn AutoZen. It's a Microsoft product. Okay, these things you can run. And obviously to build a RAG application, you need to know a framework called LangChain. This is all the part of here, LangChain, right? So these are the topics, or these are the things that you need to cover if you really want to get started. And this everything will not take much more than 2 months or 3 months down the time space. So in next 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 months, you can easily learn this everything. But I'm assuming that you have already a software engineering background. You know the software engineering principle, you know the cloud knowledge, you know the Python, you know how the software work, how the life cycle, you have these concepts already. Then it is quite easy to learn this everything which I'm talking about. And you can try for jobs, you can try for, after that you can try for interview, and you can try for job. This is the path, okay? And this is what I had taken the shortest part. This is what is required, okay? The next approach, the next route I'm talking about, in this route, it's a very long route, okay? It's the longest, this is the longest path I'm talking about, okay? So ultimately, if you really want to become good at generative AI space, and if you really want to do some projects in IT company in generative AI space, so your ultimate target or your ultimate project will be like, as I talk about, right? You have to build you have to build a RAG application, right? So this is what you're going to build. You're going to build RAG application. Either you can do going to do fine tuning, or either you can do prompting, okay? These are the kind of work you have to do, or maybe either you can do some agentic creating, going to build some agentic workflow or something agentic application. These are all things you're going to do in this space, in generative AI space, okay? So this is your target to reach here. So the first path I talk about, this is the shortest path, okay? But the problem here, in my case, this is my experience I'm saying with you. This is the I took very shortest part initially, but later on I realized one thing, okay? I had this all concepts, okay? But later on I realized that that I'm lacking something. This is what I had my personal experience I'm sharing with you. I'm lacking the core concepts. I'm lacking the core concepts. Okay, I have seen a lot of people which they have recently switched into agentic AI or generative AI space. I have seen that most of the people, they have very zero or poor knowledge, I would say poor knowledge in ML, because they don't have a ML background. So they maybe they are developer, Java developer, .NET developer, and they just switch into generative AI space. So they don't have a very good knowledge in ML. They don't have a good knowledge in maths. Okay, they don't have a good knowledge in deep learning. Okay, by the way, these are not required. Maybe these are not pretty much. I would say 100. It is not dependent. Okay, even though you don't have this kind of knowledge, it is okay. Even you can make a career into generative AI. But but later on, what I feel that I'm lacking this knowledge. Even when I started, I had no knowledge in this all thing. Okay, so I realized that, man, I'm lacking this knowledge. For example, suppose I want to understand that how this LLM work. Okay, how this transformer work. Suppose I want to build my own architecture. I want to solve my own problem. I want to build my own architecture, right? So I was lacking this basic knowledge, right? I was lacking this basic knowledge. So this is not required. Maybe if you don't have this knowledge, you can build you can solve a lot of problem using if you understand the RAG, you understand Hugging Face, you understand LLM, you understand the API, you understand cloud, you can solve the problem, okay? But here, if you really want to build a very sound deep knowledge, this is the second path I'm talking about. The second path which I'm talking about, it is, if you really want to build very deep knowledge, okay, then I will suggest you take this path. Okay, the first path, I'm assuming that these are the prerequisite. I'm assuming that you already know Python, you know software engineering, you know cloud knowledge. This is a prerequisite. Okay, it's a horizontal, I would say. So I will suggest you in the second path, if you really want to build a very sound knowledge and you want to feel very confident, I would suggest you start with ML. Now you might be thinking, ML, why ML is required? I'm not going to become ML engineer. This is not my destination, right? I'm not suggesting you become very good at ML. My suggestion is you just try to understand some core concepts. Just try to understand the core concept. How I mean, what is the ML? Okay, what are the basic like scikit-learn some algorithms? Try to understand some algorithm, right? So this, why I'm asking this, to just build the basic concept. It will help you to understand the neural network. Okay, after that, if you have some basic, I'm not saying that you become very proficient or become elite in ML. Just try to understand the basic concepts. Then you start with deep learning, deep neural network, okay, deep learning or neural network, right? Why neural network is important? Now you might be thinking why I should go very basic or the maths behind that or those concepts which maybe I'm not going to use it. Okay, so this is my understanding that if you understand neural networks, the core concept behind the how the deep learning work, how the neural network work, if you have the core, very core concepts, then in future uh, you can explore more things, or maybe you can build your own architecture. Okay, you're not restricted only till LLM. You're not just a consumer of LLM. See, now LLM is a kind of black box. Okay, it is kind of black box. You don't know what is happening inside it. If you're okay with that, if you're happy with that, no, I don't want to go very deep in LLM. I don't want to understand the basic component. I don't want to understand how the LLM behind the scene they work. It's okay because it's a black box. They expose API, okay, and as a developer, suppose you are a developer, you're happy to consume this API, and this API will talk to LLM and they will perform their job. That's okay. You can solve the problem, but you really very keen, you really want to understand, you want to go very depth about LLM, you want to understand every pieces of LLM, then I will suggest you learn neural network. Okay, so this neural network will give you complete perspective, complete history that how this LLM work, how they have built, what are the building blocks inside the LLM. So that is why I will suggesting you learn ML, learn deep learning. Okay, and the deep learning, okay, and the in the deep learning you understand what is there are multiple kind of deep learning, by the way, multiple architecture. So first I'm suggesting this is the roadmap. Okay, so learn the ML. This is the first thing. Learn neural network. Okay, and in the neural network, if you really want to work with generative AI, you learn like how the RNN work. RNN is a kind of another neural network. Okay, then how, what are the problem with RNN? Then what is the LSTM? Why LSTM came into picture? What was the problem with RNN which is got not able to solve the problem? Then how the LSTM come? Okay, and after the LSTM, like sequence to sequence model, sequence to sequence model. How, what was the problem with again LSTM? What was the why LSTM was not able to solve sequence to sequence problem? Okay, so learn sequence to sequence problem, and in this after sequence to sequence problem you have to learn like what is the attention mechanism of. Okay, so they are in the even in the sequence to sequence model we use attention mechanism. Try to understand that. Okay, once you understand that, then try to understand the next phase comes the transformer. So this is the roadmap, this is the, I would say, sequence of events happen. Okay, first NN came, then RNN came, then LSTM came, then researcher work on sequence to sequence model, then attention layer, then transformer. And here if you, because this, suppose all of a sudden you're going to start the transformer, you have no any basic idea about RNN, about LSTM, about sequence to sequence, about attention mechanism, you have no any background. Okay, and if I ask you that, hey, you just start transformer, initially I had a lot of challenge, it will be very difficult to connect all the dots. Okay, though it is possible, I have a lot of people does that, a lot of people do that. Okay, but before understanding the transformer you have to understand the backstory, because these are the backstory. Transformer did not came all of sudden, it came by the backstory. So try to understand this backstory, try to understand this architecture. I'm not saying become very good or become very pro in that, but at least you build some very basic concept around that. Okay, once you build, once you have this all, you have gone through this all journey and you have reached till transformer. Okay, then try to understand. Okay, after that you, I think that after that this whole journey is same. Okay, so after that again, if you understand everything, then after this you have to learn what is the transfer learning, like what is the transfer learning. Okay, how to do the fine tuning the model, right, using LoRa. There are multiple techniques like LoRa, QLoRa, how to do the fine tuning, and then try to understand the RAG architecture. Okay, Okay, before RAG, okay, let me put this way, not directly RAG. So before RAG, okay, before you do RAG, try to understand all the model. So after that, try to understand LLM models, all the models. Okay, try to understand the APIs, all the model exposure API, because generally we have to call APIs. Okay, and then if you have these concepts, then try to understand what is the prompt engineering concept, how to write a prompt, right? And then after that, try to understand LangChain, uh, how to use LangChain application. Okay, it's a framework, and how to build RAG application. Try to understand RAG. Okay, after the RAGs, then come to agents. How to build agents. Okay, you can start with LangGraph, or you can start with AutoGen, right? And then after that, you can go with MCP server. You can understand how the agent to agent communication happens, right? So this is the complete so from starting from here, okay, yeah, so this is the complete roadmap or complete journey to get started with the generative AI application. Okay, but this all thing which I'm talking about, maybe it is initially it is not required, which I did personally. But if you learn this whole story one by one, all the back story, you understand the RNN, what is the problem with RNN, you understand LSTM, what is the problem with LSTM, how the sequence to sequence model work. It will help you to build a very conceptual knowledge, a very foundational knowledge. Okay, and then you can explore more. Okay, so this is what I did. So first I started with this approach. Okay, I directly jumped into transformer. Before starting transformer, I had no any knowledge about ML. I had some basic idea, but about maths, about deep learning, about I had no knowledge. I just understand transformer, and I did some fine tuning the model and understand how the LLM work, the different APIs, because I come from I have a developer background, so I understand API, how to use it, and how to solve my problem. This is all thing I did. And then RAG is very for me, RAG is more like a software development. So I understand RAG and cloud, I know. Okay, and LLM ops is like more like a DevOps. Okay, so these are the roadmaps. The first roadmap is this one, the shortest path, but it's very quick to start. But I will suggest take this path, and which later on I learn this everything. So I will suggest take this path. This path will take some time. It's okay, but you will have very solid knowledge, very sound knowledge into this. Okay, so this is the way of starting a generative AI if you really want to become very good in this field. Now, next question you might be thinking, because I have seen this lot of problem with a lot of people. They do the courses. Okay, they they lot of online courses. They find some courses. They have the knowledge also, but still they are not able to find interview. How many of you guys you have faced this challenge that you are very good at generative AI, you have taken the courses, you have spent lakh of rupees on courses, but still maybe you have changed your resume also, you're not getting interviews. Or let's suppose you got the interview, you're not able to crack it. How many of you have this situation right now? That I'm getting call. First of all, there are two categories. First of all, the first category is people who are not getting call at all. Is the first kind of category. I hope it will be very less people not getting interview call. I'm hoping it's very less. And the second category will be you're getting interview calls, but you're not able to crack, unable to crack, unable to crack interview. Okay. So my suggestion here is, my friend, if you really want to, suppose I'm assuming that, okay, I'm assuming that you have done the course, okay, and you have very good knowledge. You have very good knowledge in, suppose this all topic which I'm talking about, generative AI. Okay, and now you're preparing for interview. Okay, so second thing, the first thing what you have to do, no, this is my this is my word. Okay, this is the fact I'm talking about. No company will give you a job as a fresher. Let's suppose you have 10 years, 12 years or 6 year, 8 year, 9 years kind of experience already. You already are working in the IT company, and suppose you have done the courses. Now you're expecting that I have the certification, I have the course. Will I get a company will give me job? No company will give you a job as a fresher, right? So somehow you have to showcase somehow in your current job, in your current profile, that you have done some kind of projects. You have to showcase that I have done my project in generative AI project. You show some use cases, okay? That in my current company, in my current project, I have these use cases. I have solved this problem. I have this kind of project. I have already done that. This is the first thing you have to do. Okay. If you're not showing any project, real time project in your resume, you will not get interview call. This is a fact. Okay. Let's suppose I'm pretending that you are showing projects in your resume, you're getting interview call. Okay. Second thing, what you have to do, you have to really build some projects. Okay, only showing the project in the resume will not solve the problem. You have to really build something. If I say really build something, really I mean you have to do some POC kind of. You build your portfolio. Okay, get a real time experience, like for example fine tuning the model. Take some model, prepare some data set, and do the real time fine tuning. For example, building RAG application. You create some use cases based on your industry, based on your kind of project you're doing currently, right? And build some RAG application. Try to solve some problem in the RAG application. Suppose agentic, okay? You know how the agentic work, right? You know the your projects. Try to build some mock project or some POC and try to build something. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here, really build something on ground level. And if you really build something, you don't have, I have seen a lot of people just they just have a theoretical knowledge. They just know in the theory. Okay, how the RAG work, you know how the RAG work, how the agentic work, you know how the fine tuning work, you know what is the transfer model, you know everything. You have very theoretical knowledge, but practically you don't know anything on the ground level. You have not done any kind of project. Okay, you haven't deployed any model in the production, maybe on the cloud. You have never done any kind of monitoring work. You have never seen the complete pipeline, like how to acquire the data, how to do the data injection, how to build into the vector database. You have just read on the theory, but on practically you have no practical knowledge. Okay, so what will happen if you don't have if this is what I have seen. What will happen? You are lacking the context. Okay, only theory will not solve you. Only theory will not help you to crack interview. You have to build a real context, build some project. If you have built a project, you have done some work, you have done some POC, your context will be very good. And this way you will be able to crack interview, any kind of interview. Okay, this is how I did. Okay, though when I was preparing for these interview jobs, I built something substantially. I built something. I built a lot of use cases in RAG. I did a lot of fine tuning. So it when I did that, I got a lot of confidence that I can crack any kind of interview, right? So this is what you have to do, my friend. Just because why I'm sharing this all thing, because I have seen a lot of people in my circle. They have done the courses. They have good certification. In the theory wise, they are very good, but they are not able to express. Whenever they face interview, they're not able to explain the things which the interviewer is expecting from you. So this will only come once you build something, you build your context, and then it is easy to crack interview. And not only cracking interview, okay, if you crack interview, you will able to sustain in the job. This is also important. Sustainability is also important, right? So this is all, my friend. This is a roadmap. If you really want to become want to make a career in this field, okay, this is the complete roadmap I shared with you. And I started with the shortest route. I started with transformer, learning transformer, LLM, APIs, fine tuning, RAG architecture, and this way I got a job. Okay, and the second, but I will suggest you build a very core concept. Start with ML, start with deep learning, understand these all concepts which I talk about, okay, and then eventually you will reach to that point, okay. So this is the roadmap. If guys, I hope I was able to share a lot of practical aspect, practical insight to becoming generative AI developer, okay. So this is all in this video. In the next video I will talk about, so okay, let me talk about the course, okay, what I'm going to cover, okay. So I'm going to start a course on Genai architecture, Genai application, okay. So that's why I'm going to start with first of all I will start with the deep learning, okay, neural network, okay. And in the neural network I will cover like what is the RNN. I will start with RNN, I will start with LSTM, I will start with sequence to sequence model, okay. I will start, then I will touch upon what is the attention, how the attention work. This is very the core of this. And then how the transformer architecture work, all the pieces of transformer, okay. And then how to do transfer learning, what is the transfer learning, and how to do the fine tuning, okay, how to do the fine tuning of the model, any transformer model. And then I will talk about LLM, how, what is the LLM, okay, how it works, different APIs of LLM, how you can consume API of LLM, and you can build some solution around that, okay. And then I will cover, after that I will cover LangChain, how the LangChain framework work, and RAG concept. What is the RAG concept? What problem it solves? There are two types of RAG according to me. One is the vanilla RAG, and mostly people understand vanilla RAG. There's a very advanced RAG which I will cover in very advanced in the course. What is the advanced RAG? Okay. And after that, once you have done this, then I will cover agentic framework. I will cover AutoGen framework, very advanced level, okay. So this much I'm going to cover in this course which I'm going to launch, okay. And I'm planning to create a very long series of video on this whole topic so that you get us started. And also I will share some projects details, not only theory. I will give you some assignment on some projects on that, so that you will have very sound knowledge and practical knowledge, and you have very good context, okay. So this everything is required to crack interview and sustain in the job. This is my plan, okay. So I will see you in the next video, okay. So in the next video I will talk about, I will give very brief idea about what is deep learning, how to get started, and the core concept, the mathematical concepts, and this way we will start, okay. So this is all in this video. I hope you got to know something. Maybe you already, I know that you already have seen a lot of videos around this everything, but maybe I'm covering a lot practical or maybe more insight about it, okay. So this is all in this video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye and take care, and let's get started with the deep learning in the next video. I will see you.